Yeah, I started the recording late. Sorry, we record the lesson for some people that can't make it. So, sorry, I'm picking up in chapter 23, verse 1. Now it came about after many days, when the Lord had given rest to Israel from all their enemies on every side, and Joshua was old, advanced in years, that Joshua called for all Israel, for their elders and for their heads and their judges and their officers, and said to them, I'm old, advanced in years, and you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations because of you. For the Lord your God is he who has been fighting for you. See, I have apportioned to you these nations which remain as an inheritance for your tribes, with all the nations which I have cut off from the Jordan, even to the great sea, towards the setting of the sun. The Lord your God, he will thrust them out before you and drive them out before you, and you will possess their land, just as the Lord your God promised you. Be very firm, then, to keep and do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, and so that you may not turn aside from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you will not associate with these nations, these which remain among you, or mention the name of their gods, or make anyone swear by them, or serve them, or bow down to them. But you are to cling to the Lord your God, as you have done to this day. For the Lord has driven out great and strong nations from before you. And as for you, no man has stood before you to this day. Well, no man stood before them, but they've been swindled at least once by making concessions and a treaty with the tribe. So keep in mind, as he's going through all this, you know what's about to come. As soon as he says he's advanced in years, you start thinking back to Moses. What did Moses do? Come through. Okay, I'm advanced in years, so you know what's coming. This is a given, but he's making sure to hit the highlights here. And what's the one thing he's really focused on right now? And the first thing he's starting with is, do not go follow these other gods. What is he? What again? And I've repeated this a lot over the last couple months now, probably, but just to make sure repetition gets it into your brain. The thing that ticks off Yahweh the most seems to be if you go worship a false god. I mean, that's the cardinal sin, if you will. It seems like in the Old Testament. Sin is sin, but this one at this time really upsets Yahweh. So we're just trying to make, I'm trying to make very clear as he is, that you have to follow the Lord. Now they've gone in and some cities, they've completely destroyed not just everyone in them, but everything, as an example. They've killed everything in some of these, decimated them. There's nothing left. Part of that is they had to also destroy all the stacked stones, all the things that were remnants of their false gods. Destroy the Asherah poles, destroy their places of worship, get rid of all that. Why? Because if something remains, people are more likely to go, hey, what's this? Maybe I'm not getting what I want from God today. I prayed for a new Ferrari and there's not one out in the parking lot today, so I'm a little bit upset with him. I'm going to look for another God. Stupid, for one thing. But the point is that people will do that. And some people, I don't understand the decisions they make. But that's why we have free will, right? God lets us make those decisions for ourselves. Now, my point in this is that that's why all this stuff was destroyed. But keep in mind, there's still some remnants in the promised land of other nations. And therefore, they're still doing their worship to false gods. And so he's reminding them, until you get rid of the rest of these people, don't mess up. Don't revert. Don't go to the old gods, the false gods. Stick with Yahweh. And that's what he's making the point of. One of your men puts to flight 1,000, for the Lord your God is he who fights for you, just as he promised, right? Keep in mind, they drove out more powerful nations than them. They just go up, show up. And why is this? It's happening. Why are they able to get rid of them? It's because of Yahweh, but at the same time, it's because these nations see them coming and go, oh, crap, we know what they've done to everybody else. They've dragged the king out into the street and skewered him, killed him right there in front of everybody. I'm the king. I'm gone. I'm getting out of here. I recommend my people do too, because what do? They kill all of you. They don't leave any behind. So a lot of these people just ran and left. So it's, again, he's going to go through and repeat a lot of stuff of what's happened, but it's as a reminder, which is what he needs to do for them. So take diligent heed to yourselves to love the Lord your God. For if you ever go back and cling to the rest of these nations, these which remain among you, and intermarry with them, so that you associate with them, and they with you, know with certainty that the Lord your God will not continue to drive these nations out from you, but will be a snare and trap to you, and a whip on your sides and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off the good land which the Lord your God has given you. He makes it pretty clear, bad things are going to happen. I mean, thorns to the eyes, this sounds pretty bad. He's making it pretty clear, if you do not follow the Lord, if you intermarry, if you get involved with these other people, there will be trouble. Bottom line, right? That this is going to be bad for you. But, of course, we know how this all plays out. If nothing else, you can look and go, is this promised land? The land still exists, but is Israel still maintaining all of it today? What do you think happened? Do you think they listened? No. We know this for a fact. That's bringing it to today, let alone all the things we see in the the rest of the Old Testament and the New Testament that they do. Now, behold, today I am going the way of the earth, and you know in all your hearts and all your souls that no one word of all the words spoken which the Lord your God spoke concerning you has failed. All have been fulfilled for you. Not one of them has failed. Well, you got to think and always still remember, their clothes didn't wear out for 40 years. How long does yours last before you toss a shirt or pants or whatever? Just being realistic, people. All of this stuff. You provided food for them 40 years wandering in the desert. How can you question a God that's done that? They've gone up to fight people. Are they fighting me? These aren't fighting people. These are people who have been roaming the desert. At this point, because again, keep in mind, everybody that came out of Egypt, save a handful, perished before they went in to even go towards the promised land. And so if you're looking at it that way, these people weren't prepared to fight. They weren't out there training for 40 years. These are just regular people. And they walk in and take whatever weapons they have, and they win every time. In fact, remember, the first one, no one is even harmed.
They were all ages, too.
Yeah.
So they all weren't 18 to 25.
No. They were 20 and up. If you remember, that's when they count and take the censuses. It's 20 years old and up. And those are the people that go to fight. And then once they go into the promised land, think about it. They're told then, you know what? When you're going to cross over the Jordan, all we need is 1,000 per tribe. That's all. We don't need everybody. Boy, I'd say kind of cocky if it wasn't for the fact that you got Yahweh on your side. If He's with you, who can stand against you? Well, they stood against them, but not for very long. They took care of all of them. So again, I think it's just a really good remembrance for all of them to know that this has happened. And keep in mind, He's had them all come to listen to this. He brought the entire nation over there. Think about the travel time again, how to get there. Even if you look at the promised land on a map, you think about walking that distance, because you're talking about everybody going. So everybody's not got a horse to go jump on. There's no bus coming by anytime soon. You can try thumbing it, but I don't think it's going to work. So this was important to them to actually go there and see this and listen to Him firsthand. And He, as He said, and this is true for all of us, it's only a matter of the day. Today, I'm going the way of the earth. But He's saying, no, today, this is happening. So, anyway. It shall come about that just as all the good works, or good words, which the Lord your God spoke to you have come upon you, so the Lord will bring upon you all the threats He had until He has destroyed you from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. When you transgressed the covenant of the Lord your God, which he commanded you, and go and serve other gods and bow down to them, then the anger of the Lord will burn against you, and you will perish quickly from off the good land which he has given you. If you think about it and look at it to today, isn't that what's happened? He didn't say he would destroy Israel. He said they would be off of that land. They hold on to a very small part of it today. And even that, they didn't have for a period of time, for a long period of time. So, just putting it in perspective here, if you listen to what he's saying, these last two, well, it depends on, it's one thing I hate. You can't say the last two paragraphs, because every translation you look at, well, is it one paragraph or 5 paragraphs? It varies. Joys of different translations. But if you look at this last little bit, it's more of a prophecy, than it is a warning. It's been a warning, but all of a sudden he kind of changed to a prophecy going, oh, this is going to happen. You're not going to listen. That's the way I'm reading it. And I went through my usual 3 translations. And to me, that's still what it's saying, is that, you all are going to do this. Whether you want to admit to it or not, it's coming. So be good as long as you can. Okay. Then Joshua gathered all of the tribes of Israel to Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and their judges and their officers, and they presented themselves before God. Again, not a small feat for them to get everybody there. Joshua said to all the people, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, from ancient times your fathers lived beyond the river named Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nahor, and they served other gods. Then I took your father Abraham from beyond the river and led him through all the land of Canaan and multiplied his descendants and gave him Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau, and to Esau I gave Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his sons went down into Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt by what I did in its midst, and afterwards I brought you out. I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and you came to the sea, and Egypt pursued you. Your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the Red Sea. But when they cried out to the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them and covered them. And your own eyes saw what I did in Egypt, and you lived in the wilderness for a long time. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, who lived beyond the Jordan, and they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand. And you took possession of their land while I destroyed them before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and fought against Israel. And he sent and summoned Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse you. But I was not willing to listen to Balaam, so he had to bless you. And I delivered you from his hand. You crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho, and the citizens of Jericho fought against you, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Gershites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Then I gave them into your hand. So he's giving a long recap here, but again, it's all oral history. Most people weren't reading and writing, so this is how things were. The more you say it, again, as I always say, remember back to 3rd grade and 4th grade. It's all repetition. Felt like you did the same thing for a week. Well, yeah, you did. So you'd remember it. You're right. It was all repetition, so you'd remember it. Then I sent the hornet before you, and it drove out the 2 kings of the Amorites from before you, but not by your sword or your bow. If you don't remember this from when we read it originally. On that one, hornet is questionable. They actually don't know what that word means. They sent something out there, but what was it? I don't know. And apparently neither of those to translate it. They don't know if it's wasp, hornet. They're not even certain that it's something flying. It sent something. That's the decision they made, is different translations will say wasp or hornet. But the reality is, if you look at the origin of the word, they have no clue what it means. So, just quick FYI. I gave you a land on which you had not labored, and cities which you had not built. and you have lived in them, and you are eating of vineyards and olive groves, which you did not plant. How about the Lord providing everything, right? I mean, doesn't just provide the land to them, say, okay, get to work, start making those bricks again, you know how to do it. No. He said, no, it's all here, it's done. You've made enough bricks. Here's the town, here's the city. Now, sure, we know that they had to repair them because obviously there was damage from the wars, but at the same time, yeah, repairing is a whole lot easier than building, isn't it? So, anyway. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river in Egypt, and serve the Lord. If it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods of your fathers, which your fathers served, which were beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
That's one of my favorite verses. I've got it on the wall in my house.
It's a good one. And it gets...
It's mine too. I got it on my coffee table.
Nice. Hey, it's the way it should be. And if more people served the Lord today, we wouldn't have the problems that we do. And I wish we were there, but unfortunately, it's not the case. But that's a pretty powerful statement when you're standing before, I don't know, millions of people. I mean, they've had them all come in for this speech, basically, which is going to be his last speech, obviously. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, and who did these great signs in our sights, and preserved us throughout the way in which we went, and among all the people through whose midst we passed. The Lord drove out from before us the peoples, even the Amorites who lived in the land. We also served the Lord, for he is our God. So the people have answered. They say they want to make and continue to have, because keep in mind, this is just really a continuation, right, of their existing covenant. So they're just saying again, and I think this is Joshua's way of just making sure he gives them a good reminder on his way out. And they answer in the way he's hoping they will. Then Joshua said to the people, you will not be able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your transgressions or your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, then he will turn and do you harm and consume you after he has done good to you. The people said to Joshua, no, but we will serve the Lord. You notice how it sounds like Joshua was saying, yeah, you're not going to be able to do this. It's warning. Joshua said to the people, you are witnesses there against yourselves that you have chosen for yourselves the Lord to serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. Now, therefore, put away the foreign gods which are in your midst, and incline your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. Now, what does he mean, put away the foreign gods which are in your midst? See, what's he talking about? They have foreign gods among them?
It sounds like they do.
Of course they do. What do we had said? We got the promised land. Have they driven everybody out yet? No. So they've got foreign gods among them.
He even mentions it.
Yeah, they're in their land. We know how many of the cities were named Baal. Baal this, Baal that. Think about it. They're all named after a fake god. So yeah, you know it's still among them. I mean, they've got a job to do just to clean up the names and rename all the cities, right? I mean, if you think about it, we've read most of these cities, not all of them, but a lot of them. And how many of them have Baal or other false god, Ashtoreth or something else in the title? Plenty of them. So do they have false gods among them? Absolutely. These Canaanites that they haven't gotten out yet, some Hittites they haven't gotten out yet. So, yeah, they're false gods among them. And who's going to influence whom? I mean, we always want to say we're going to go out in the world and we're going to influence others. How many people have you worked with that, you know, you've seen at church and they're all, I'm for Yahweh, I'm for the Lord, and then you see them at work and they're cursing left and right. They're rude to people. They're mean. How are you going to... You can't be both things at the same time. You can't be a Christian one day a week. It doesn't work. And I know plenty of those people. I mean, I've been in plenty of big churches, and I've met some of those people somewhere else, or saw them somewhere else, out of context, if you will, meaning I'm used to seeing people at church. Sometimes it takes me a half second to go, oh, yeah, sorry, I see them out of context. I'm used to seeing them on Sunday. I see them on, Thursday out somewhere. Okay. Is their demeanor the same? Are the same person? A lot of times that's not the case. Are we the same people when we're outside of here? If we are, we should be driving more people. We all have our moments. Don't get me wrong, because we're all still sinners. But at the same time, you ought to be nice. You ought to remember that you're representing Yahweh in the world. You've got to remember that all the time. And hey, I argue with people constantly. This man's going to preach today. Let me tell you, he heard me argue with people the other day. It wasn't always pretty, but... I was offended. You know what? You just have to do it in a godly manner, but you still have to say the truth. And, I say that because you all know I'm county commissioner, so I'm arguing with people in budget meetings and all this, and legislative meetings. And that doesn't always go over real well. But you have to do it in the right manner. It doesn't mean you keep your mouth shut because you're a Christian. It means that you say it the way that you think the Lord wants you to say it, and you do what needs to be done. And I just think that that's important because because they still do have these, false gods among them. So again, who's going to influence whom? Are we going to go out in the world and we're going to influence the world for the better, or are we going to let the world influence us for the worst? And that's my point of this, is you can't get back to the scripture, is that this is what it's about, and this is what he's saying. You've still got these false gods among you. You've got to drive them out and get rid of them. Okay. So again, they're saying in 24, the people said to Joshua, "We will serve the Lord as our God, and we will obey his voice." So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day and made for them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God. And he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak that was by the sanctuary of the Lord. Joshua said to all the people, "Behold, this stone shall be a witness against us, for it has heard all the words of the Lord which he spoke to us. Thus it shall be for a witness against you, so that you do not deny your God." Then Joshua dismissed the people, each to his own inheritance. Keep in mind, they're big on the stone thing. Stacked stones, and keep in mind, it's stacked stones and not cut stones. Why not cut stones? Cut stones stack better, right? Building a stone fireplace, you're cutting those stones, stacking them upright. Why? Because man was involved in that. God made the stone. Man changes it. So when they make a lot of this stuff, you'll notice they use, right, just pick up a stone, goes here. Why? God made that, not man. I mean, we do something, even if you're going to do a stone walkway, you might start out with some that, oh yeah, I found these, pulled out some stones in creek bed, and we'll make a nice pathway, and I've done that before. Sure, I'll put out the big ones and make it look, reasonable, and then go, now I've got to break up some stones and put them in and fill it in. Well, I'm changing what God put out. But God put the stuff there for us, that's okay. But I think that's why they don't, when they do stack stones for things, they do it stuff that God made, not things that they modified. So, just, okay. It came about that after these things, that Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died being 110 years old. Then they buried him in the territory of his inheritance, in Timnah Serah, which is in the hill country of Ephraim, on the north of Mount Gosh. Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders who survived Joshua, and has known all the deeds of the Lord which he has done for Israel. Now they buried the bones of Joseph, which the sons of Israel brought up from Egypt at Shechem, in the piece of ground which Jacob had bought for the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 130 pieces of money. And they became the inheritance of Joseph's sons. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, died, and they buried him at Gibeath of Phinehas his son, which was given him in the hill country of Ephraim. Now, keep in mind, why did they have Joseph's bones? Why were they carrying them around?
It has to be buried in.
Yeah. And that's why. So they've been carrying his bones around for a long time, when you think about it. Because, he died before they were in captivity in Egypt, right? They were just prospering, which is what scared the Egyptians in the first place. So, anyway, just try to put it in perspective. So, yeah, they were fulfilling a commitment to him. And it's taken this long, which is really a long time, to get to this point. Okay. Now, I like to give a basic idea of what, when we go into a new book, of what's going on. So, the book of Judges basically is, in theory, again, we never know the exact years. Nobody wrote that down. It's not like okay, let's go back and look at the initial page of the book of Judges and figure out what the date is they've got down there. Nobody's dating this. But in theory, we believe this is around 1000 BC. So I still like to have an idea of what time frame I'm working in. So, because it gives you an idea of what the customs of the era were, if you read into that. So it's always nice to understand what's going on in perspective. But so that's the general time frame, and basically, God's going to lift up judges to basically they're prophets, but not because they're not prophesying the future. They're judges saying, "Hey, what you're doing here is not what you need to be doing. Rethink this." And you have major and minor judges throughout this, kind of like you do with prophets, because you have major and minor prophets. But that's basically what's going to go on here. So we finished out first 5 books of the Bible with the death of Moses. Then you finish out Joshua with the death of Joshua and some others. So you're starting a new time frame here. Notice you didn't have quite as big of a handoff. Like when we did the handoff previously, there's all kinds of information about how it was handed off and what happens next, as far as when it's going from Moses to Joshua. We didn't have that at the end of Joshua. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's go ahead and start. Okay. Now it came about after the death of Joshua that the sons of Israel inquired of the Lord, saying, "Who shall go up first for us against the Canaanites to fight against them?" And the Lord said, "Judah shall go up. Behold, I have given the land into his hand." Then Judah said to Simeon, his brother, "Come up with me into the allotted territory allotted to me, that we may fight against the Canaanites. And I, in turn, will go with you into the territory allotted you." So Simeon went with him. Judah went up, and the Lord gave the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hands, and they defeated 10,000 men at Bezek. They found Adoni-Bezek in Bezek and fought against him, and they defeated the Canaanites and the Perizzites. But Adoni-Bezek fled, and they pursued him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and his big toes. Kind of harsh it sounds like, doesn't it? But then again, he's trying to get rid of them, and you go up, stand up against Yahweh, there's going to be a punishment. That's just the way it is. But can you think about trying to walk without your big toes? You can't. That's one of the problems. That's a lot of our balance. If you actually pay attention when you're standing, because I stand up here in front of you all every week, and if you pay attention, you'll notice I'm adjusting. I'm using my big toe to adjust and see what I'm doing, how I'm standing. You don't have that. That's a problem. It's the other big thing. If you don't have thumbs, picking up a glass, if it's small enough, it's fine. But if it's something big, you're going to have to use 2 hands now. You don't have the opposing thumb. You've got no way to grip things well. So it's a punishment in multiple ways here. Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings with their thumbs and their big toes cut off used to gather up scraps under my table. As I have done, so God has repaid me. So they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. So again, he's just getting payback, or getting paid back for what he's done to others, to 70 other kings. This was kind of his calling card, if you will, his signature. Then the sons of Judah fought against Jerusalem and captured it, and stuck it with the edge of the sword, and set the city on fire. Afterwards, the sons of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites, living in the hill country, and in the Negev, and in the lowland. So Judah went against the Canaanites who lived in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron formerly was Kiriath Arba, and they struck Shisha and Amand and Talmah. Then from there they went against the inhabitants of Debir. Now the name of Debir formerly was Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, "The one who attacks Kiriath Sefer and captures it, I will even give him my daughter Aishah for a wife." Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, captured it. So he gave him his daughter Aishah as a wife. Then it came about that she came to him, and she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. Then she alighted from her donkey, and Caleb said to her, "What do you want?" So she said to him, "Give me a blessing. Since you have given me the land of the Negev, give to me also the springs of water." So Caleb gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. Now, I'll take a moment to address the obvious here. Yeah, she didn't have a choice in who she was going to marry. That's how the times were. That's how it worked. Look at Solomon, if you want to look a little forward. Man, to keep the peace, how many women did he marry? How many concubines did he have? What an idiot. I'm sorry, but the idea of having multiple wives, come on. Really? You want that in your life? No thank you.
More than one was thinking.
That's my thought. Hey, at least I got to laugh somewhere today. That's good. Yeah, she probably does. So yeah, this is just the way things were. I'm not saying anything about it other than say that was tradition. This is how they did things. This is how they also kept peace. Come on, look. If you want to fast forward, let's go 2,000 plus years. So let's go into the Middle Ages. How do you think the kings and all the royalty in England, France, Germany, how do you think they kept their power? Scotland, Ireland, they intermarried. That's how they did it. This is not a practice, well, that's old. It was still being done relatively recently. People do this to keep power. Families do it to keep power. It's still what happens. If you want to look around to today, you all know I like bringing things into what happens today. So Prince Charles, first wife was what? Diana? Okay. Oh, he married a normal woman. Didn't marry in the family. Are you kidding? They were cousins. They were like 3 times removed, but they were still cousins. We joke in the South about kissing cousins. I thought it was all a joke until I was working at Sanford. I walked down the hall and say it was in Lewisburg. And three people, 3 women had the same last name. They'd all been married to the same guy, and he still worked there. I don't know how he was alive, but so my point being that this is something it's old and outdated to us today, but I'm just saying things still happen. So just putting it out there. And this was what they expected. Women expected this at the time. Women didn't, come on, women's rights changed things. So just trying to put it into perspective. This is in how things were in the day. Yeah, it is. It's entirely true. Well, that you still have, child brides and everything else. I mean, India, a lot of them, it's still a caste system. They're married off early. I mean, really early there. They're promised to somebody by the time they're 10. Married shortly after, and usually to somebody quite a bit older. Why? Because that's what they do in their country.
It was funny, when David Letterman had a show after
Yeah.
He said, he's ready to tell that to go
Yeah, entirely true, too. But, teach his own, I guess. But when on the day of your marriage, your husband says to you, love? Yeah, whatever that means. That's supposedly what Charles said to Diana, their wedding day. Wait a minute. So who married for power? Who married whom for power? You start looking at that, it's questionable.
I'll tell you another quick one, just to get a laugh.
Go for it, sir.
When I was pastor down in New Albany, a lot of funny things happened in New Albany, I guess. But one of my elders invited his sister over from Huntsville, Alabama, where she lived. Came over, and she's a country girl, and we were sitting there at lunch. He invited us all over for lunch, and we're sitting there, and I preached. It was Mother's Day, and I preached on Hannah and Elkanah and Peninnah. Peninnah was the other woman, right?
Right.
That's a Hannah. And Hannah didn't like it much, that Peninnah was around. And my eldest sister, she said, preacher, she says, I like that sermon that you preached on Hannah, Elkanah, and Peninnah. and I said, well, that's good, you like it. She says, but I've got one problem. She says, if that little heifer would help me clean house, I'd let her stay.
Hey, this is the reality of the world. It's a sad statement, but entirely true.
I'm not going to tell them in the pulpit.
Yes, good call. Okay, with that, we're going to close. So let me turn off our recording here. So next week, real quick, we will pick up at 1 Judges, verse 16.